Hey, how's everybody doing today? I want to say thank y'all all for watching my shop tour video, and I've been working on putting out a few videos on some projects I'm doing, and I've got several of them under the way. I just finished that majestic butterfly that's sitting in the background there behind me. And what I've decided to do today, I got so many comments asking about certain details or aspects of the shop. I'm going to give y'all a walkthrough on some particular details of the shop. One of them, which I wouldn't normally do, is show the inside of a lot of the drawers, or most of the drawers and the cabinets. But I've been asked by so many people, so that will be the first part of the video. And if y'all would like to see that, please feel free to watch. If not, just skip right ahead to whichever parts do interest you. I'm also going to show about this sliding blade drawer behind me, the wraparounds on my table saw, my pull down shelves, storage containers, and some few other details that I really kind of just walked past or walked real fast through on the main video. It might be a little lengthy, so feel free to jump around and pick and choose and see what you like or what you find helpful for you. That's my reason for doing it. So if any of my little details or tricks help y'all, that's great. So let's get at it. I talk too much as always. Here we go. All right. Hey guys, y'all asked how I did this blade drawer and what the angle was for the blades that I set there, and the angle is not what comes into play. I try and make things as simple as possible, and the drawer was 4 inches deep, so whatever the length I needed for the blade, that determined what angle they sat at. So let me show you what I mean here. And as you can see, I just have some 3/8 by 3/8 thin strips tacked to the side. They're a 1/2 inch apart. Spaced them with little spacers as I went down the drawer, and bam, bam, bam. That's what made the slide-in slots. Okay, y'all, let's pretend this is a 4-inch deep drawer, and I drew a few lines on it there. Hope y'all can see those. If I'm using a 10-inch blade, I left a little distance on the back and a little distance on the front. When I originally did this for the front of it, which I should have did, I planned on just drilling a 3/4 inch finger hole in the front to pull the trays out. But I don't know why I didn't. I made this little lap over stop here. Overkill. Seems to be the nature of how I do things. But anyway, the drawer is 4 inches deep. So if the drawer is 4 inches deep, that's my angle. From top to bottom where the drawer can still shut. I have no idea what that angle is. It's irrelevant. What I did with 3/8 inch brad nails and glues, tacked on my first runner. Y'all can see that there. And then tacked on my second runner, leaving a 1/2 inch gap for the next one. And so on till I got to the back of the drawer. The depth of the drawer is what made the angle. I try and keep things as simple as possible. I wasn't going for any particular angle. Let's say the drawer was 8 inches thick. Right? Same thing. You can see the lines I drew on there. Top of the drawer still clears. Bottom, there's my angle. Put on my first support, 1/2 inch apart, and keep going with 1/2 inch spacers all the way down the drawer. That's all there is to making this drawer. If the drawer was 12 inches thick, lot less of an angle. Put on my first stick, and that little lip that I left hanging off of the back right there, I set my sticks so it would hit. Again, you don't have to do that. It can bottom out on the bottom of the drawer and just have a finger pull. So with a 12-inch deep drawer, and keep going with a 1/2 inch space. when the blades are stacked, 1, 2, 3, you have the distance of your cleat plus another 1/4 inch, which gives you a 1/2 inch space for the blade to slide through. To mount the blades, I simply drilled a hole in them all at once, had them all clamped up, cut some little dowel pieces into 1/2 inch long and glued them in place. And that's what holds the blade on. And it will pretty well hold it standing straight up. So any slight angle will work. It doesn't matter. It's all in the depth of the drawer that you want to put it in. If you're building the drawer to put it in, I recommend getting as much as you can, like on a 10 or a 15 degree angle. You can get more, the less the angle, the more you can fit in the drawer. I hope you understand that. If they're stretched out, that last 10 inches of the drawer on a 4-inch drawer, you've either got to put some smaller trays on those two, where you'd put your dado sets or extra stops or table saw accessories, other things. You wouldn't have to give up the back space of the drawer. If this one bottomed out on the back of the drawer, you can't get the second one in at this length, but you could get it in at a shorter length, which means you could put accessories. If your drawer is very deep, you can get all the way within 1 inch of the back of the box. So, hope that explains on how I built that drawer, and if it doesn't, leave me a comment. I will guarantee you I will answer you. What's next? These drawers are underneath the center Allen workbench, the one big one in the center. There are a total of 6 drawers, 3 deep ones and 4 shallow ones, and they slide all the way through, both sides. Come out and go in from one side to the other. And what I did there was simply put these 2 runners on the drawer and put one center runner in the middle. I keep them waxed with Johnson's paste wax for them to slide all the way through. I did have to notch out the front of my drawer so they could slide all the way through, like so. Same thing. 2 runners screwed on, center runner mounted to the cabinet, waxed with Johnson's paste wax, and I can pull them out from each side. And that's all there is to those drawers. In and out. These drawers sitting here are wood storage right now, nowadays. Like I say, they sit on 500-pound sliding drawer tracks. When I pull one out, they come out to 60 inches, and they weren't originally built for wood storage. Like I was telling y'all, I built this shop in three parts as I could get the space, and I originally had power tools on here. I had my small Delta lathe on one of them. I had the sharpening tools set up on another one. I had, what was it? Oh gosh, I forget now. A grinder, I think. No, the grinders set up on one of them, and they would pull up and slide out of the way. And by themselves, they got a little bit of flex to them, and that's fine and dandy for wood storage, but that didn't work too good for the power tools. So for the sake of the power tools, I built this little device. And what it did, hold on, let me get you a little bit where you can see that. There we go. What it did was wrap around the bottom of the drawer. It won't go on now. Clamp on, and it made my pull-out surface a rock-solid surface. I would clamp it on by tightening those 2 knobs on the bottom. I don't think y'all can see that very good, can you? Let's see. There we go. It would wrap around the bottom of that tray right there, tighten those 2 knobs on the bottom, and make a support leg for the drawer. Oh, that's right, I used the one on the very end here as a work counter. At that time, I didn't have this big island built. But when I got the rest of the space for the shop, I didn't need the tools here anymore on pullouts. And you should have saw the configuration I did with the cords there. So I change it to what you see now as a wood storage area. On to the next one. All these tall 8-foot rolling bins all slide from, well, 2 of them slide out of the way to get to the other ones. One of them slides in front of my main electrical panel, and I made sure it slid all the way out of the way as it is right now, because you don't want anything in front of an electrical panel like that. But it will slide to the right, so I'll go ahead and open and slide those out and show you guys what I mean. Alright, that back one is slid to the right now. This one off here to the far right is fixed to the wall. That one slides, that's in front of the panel. And this second one is in a fixed position behind it, with storage above, which y'all have seen. And the second one slides out of the way of that one. And I have wood caps, dowels, pins, insert, specialty screws, little package items, hinges, support legs, bumpers, screws, and more screws. It's better to have it than to need it and not have it. And over here, same thing. Clamps, fittings, pieces. I do a lot of craft work too, not just the wood shop. Can't help myself, I like to. So that's these bins in a nutshell. And I'm going to put y'all a link in the comment section where you can find these bins if you want to build something similar. Got some sandpapers there, some wood dowels, some sanding jigs, some small resin cutoffs, more round wood dowels, and so on. I'm a pack rat, I guess. Next to that charging station, y'all might have noticed these drawers in the video. Have some of the multi-tool blades here divided up, and I cut up some plywood to make dividers out of. Very well stocked on razor blades, the jigsaw blades, and the bandsaw blades are what's in these right here. And they pull out above the miter box track, which I've been asked also is made by Craig, that blue miter box guide track backer slide thingamajobber. If y'all have never seen one of these, some people call it a Chinese finger trap, but what it is, where you have an SO cord coming out of a box like hanging from a ceiling or something, if you were to pull on the cord, it gets tighter around the trap where you can't pull the cord loose. It's an industrial safety feature when cords have to hang. This 2-inch duct port coming off of this drop is for this little sander right over here, and I like the hose to come straight down so it's out of the way and never have to move it or take it off or anything like that. And I put a kill up there in case I ever took it out. That's why that gate is right there, which I leave open all the time because, again, I'm short. But I put a second gate down on the bottom where I connected it to the sander so that I could open and close it right there. And of course, the power cord I attached to the flex duct. It's all there, it's out of the way, can be very easily disconnected if I need to. Y'all asked why I had these little buckets built like this sitting here. Remember I told you about being short? It's got steel wool in it is what I keep in that one. Makes it very easy to reach and put it back where it belongs. And it just looks cool. That's my logo that y'all see on the beginning of the videos. It is a piece of oak. I figure it's about 180 years old. I did do a ring count on it. I actually carved it at the Fleet's wood shop. I wish I could get closer on that. is made like smoke coming off the top of the volcano, is what I carved with it. Hence the over-the-top shop. And I think I carved that about probably 18 years ago, I believe it was. This cabinet that's sitting on top of the planer is just bolted on those 4 sides right there, those 4 bolts, and it comes right off when I need to work on the planer. And there's some what do you call them, table saw and bandsaw accessories, push blocks, pushing pads, and so on inside of them. This little cabinet here is a project I'm working on. It is an extension off the right hand side of my lathe for the little tools, and I haven't made the drawer fronts yet. I'm going to build it like this one, out of one solid piece, and then cut it up for the drawers. And I don't think I'll tell you all the pattern yet. You'd have me listed as insane and put me away if I told you. But I'll show you when I get it done. And then there's one more sitting, right now it's sitting right over here next to the planer. And again, the drawer fronts aren't finished on it yet either. But I'll go ahead and, for those of you who want to see, and show you what's on the inside of the drawers. And if you don't, please don't let me bore you, just jump right past them. All 3 of the dust collectors are on remote control switches. Most of y'all probably have that, but if you don't, they're not that expensive. You just plug your dust collector into it and press the remote control, turn it on and off your dust collector from wherever you want. They're real nice to have. This one is made by called the Lone Ranger, and I ordered them through Woodcrafters. By Houston code, fire extinguishers are required every 75 feet or within 75 feet of reach. But I have, I think, a total of 6 in this shop area. Over here, as you walk into that second portion of the shop, y'all probably saw these cabinets. And I have pegboard on this door for a reason. I have my radio stereo system and DVD that plays throughout the speakers in the shop in there, and it puts off a little heat. So the back of the door is perforated, or basically drilled a bunch of holes and put pegboard in the front so I could get a lot of air to those electronics. That's why that's there. When I was building it, I piped in air everywhere, on top of every bench, hanging down from the ceiling, so you never were short on air connections. You can get them anywhere. And in case y'all don't know, most of you probably do. It's pretty well known, but regular water pipes, Schedule 40 PVC, I run 150 pounds of pressure in that compressor sometimes, on the average 120, and no problems at all. I also put a water spigot here when I built this. There's no sink below it, but you need water for these Tormaxes. Didn't need a drain, just needed water. So the faucet with no sink. Above that sharpening area, which, yes, I know it's clean. I like it clean. Mr. Berto helps me keep it clean because I make a mess. But above it, and again, I made these handles so that they match the pattern in the wood. But as you can see, you can reach around them. All the tool and equipment books are above this one. My little air painter. And like I said, I do a lot of craft work that I really hadn't made videos of. So I've got some craft supplies. More craft supplies. Baseball glove holders. And more craft supplies. Down below the sharpening area are some extra tape measures some little spray bottles, the Velcro for the sample rack, just your basic storage stuff. This is a sub panel over here that feeds this section of the shop. And then you have the light switches and the 2 switches for the fans and the filtration system. Inside that router cabinet, like I said, there's 3 porta cables mounted in there. All the adjustments and everything you need to do to them, including turning them on and off, can be done from the outside. Router bits. I think I showed you all that already in that question and answer video, I think. But anyway, these also can be picked up and taken out. They're built that way. Y'all asked me about these ducts, and again, all the duct is ran, with the exception of the flexes on the end, in metal pipes. And then of course I encase the metal in the wood. And I know y'all seen it before, but I'm not using the wood for the dust collection. It's actually metal pipe inside of there. And then I made all these little hanging brackets. They were a lot of fun to make. Came out real nice. This one over here, same thing. Metal pipe encased in the wood. And then the hanging brackets. And I know you could get away with a simple bolt or a bent shelf bracket up there to do that, but what can I say? Both of these scroll saws used to sit in a different location, so I put fold-up wing tables on each side of them for working. They can fold down out of the way, they can fold up, and you can use them. When you want to move them around, you fold them down and they're sitting on wheels. This one's not. By the way, I love this scroll saw. Boy, if you want a deep reach scroll saw, this is the one to get. This Hawk is wonderful. And guess where it's made? Good old USA. Really nice little saw. Pry bars and pliers so you don't have to go running to the other side of the shop. Allen tools and pliers so you don't have to go running to the other side of the shop. Along with, what do you call those things? Nut drivers, right. Screwdrivers. Wrenches. And yes, this took a while. There's a magnet in every one of those. And yep, I built them. Can't tell you where to buy them. I built them. Chisels and chisels. Out of place chisels. Can't have that. And more chisels. Corner chisels and so on. What can you say? Chisels. Carving tools. Carving tools and scrapers. And I built all these little wooden racks inside the drawers to hold them all. And if y'all remember, I told you that none of the stuff sitting around the table saw was in a fixed position. It could all be easily moved so you could get the way around the back side and the sides of the table saw. So let me show you that. There you go. I didn't pull the one with the wheels on the right all the way out. I could have, but it comes out very easily. It's on wheels. And the one on the left has pads on the bottom that just slides out of the way so I can get right around the table saw. I also have on this one, let's see, let's get over there. See that little leg sticking up right there? It's to push up against the top of the table saw cutting surface. It just puts a little more rock solid to that end over there, although it's attached to the wall very well. And here, let me show you guys one other thing while I've got it pulled out. The dust port where the table saw comes in is about 4 foot back under there. So what I did I can't get the camera there, I'm sorry. There's that metal flapper for the dust port control. And I attached this all thread rod to it, coming out 5 feet, with a handle on it where I can just reach down and open and close that dust port without having to go around the back of the table saw. And I also wired the table saw through a disconnect that I can reach right here very easily. When you're changing the blades, you want to kill the power, and who wants to go climb underneath the table saw to unplug it and plug it back? I just reach over from the front and kill the disconnect. And this is that little front section, and like I say, it just sits right around it, nothing fancy. Plywood frame with pegboard. That end's attached to the back, and it's dark under there, but y'all can see it. Now you can just climb around and get to whatever parts of the table you want. And again, this saw stop did not come with leveler legs on it. I couldn't understand that to save my life. Even if it was sitting on a roll around frame, you'd still want to be able to level it on legs, so I added some to it. On the back side of this table saw outfeed table on the back are also some door storage. Like I said, that base underneath there is like a 6 foot by 6 foot cabinet. So there's some doors here. See if I can open one for y'all. And I have some taped up concrete blocks and weights, or what I keep down in there. There you go, it's back in place. Now you can see that pull rod to open and close the dust port. And why would you want to close the dust port? Well, when you want to get more suction on another port, close one. I don't have any of those automatic things. Never really saw a need for them. And there's the kill switch again. On both ends of this big work center bench, I have 48-inch rolls of wax paper on both sides. Lay down for glue ups. Alright, I'll show y'all some pictures of the inside, the lathe drawers. Like I said, if you're not interested in looking at the inside of the drawers, feel free to jump right past it, but I know a lot of you are. So let me show you. This little drawer is lockable. Those little tips can get expensive, and I don't know why I had a couple disappear, so I just locked them. As everybody knows, you don't need to get to the back side of a joiner. So what I did here was built a couple of little steel racks that go up, and they do pull up out of the way completely, and they're just for setting a board up out of my way on top if I need to. The power for all the tools sitting down in the middle of the shop are all wired up and coming through the ceiling where there's no cord stretched out anywhere. Like I was telling you, this Powermatic drill has LED lights on the front of it, and I had one burn out. So what I did was you just basically take the power cord, run it through a switch, break the circuit at a switch, and then plug it in like you normally would. That way you can completely kill the power to the machine as if you had unplugged it, and you don't burn out your LEDs. And I just mounted it up in the back out of the way. Like I say, took the cord into a switch, out of a switch. And that does the job. And I always use 20 amp switches. Don't use cheap 15 amp switches. 20 amps are much better. They're just better built. Not that you're going to pull 20 amps, they're just better built. This dust collection port is about 8 feet off the ground above the Nova lathe here. So what I did was I put a stick on it. Sharp people here again. In, out. In, out. Works great. This little delta sander here, it's not very convenient to reach off to the side here to get to that little small sanding pad. So what I did was I put a pull pin, and it's on a swivel. where I can turn it around to get to it very easily. The drawers on this cabinet along the shop don't go to the back. I put all the plugs and the power outlets below and then put grommet holes in for the cords to pass through. None of these I really need a kill power to work on, so I didn't put kill switches up top for them. And they're all like that. It keeps, where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Keeps the tools cords out of the way. Down here are some extra sanding pads for the spiral sander I built there, and tons of little cleanup Q-tips that I got from Harbor Freight, I believe that was. And I'll show you all inside the rest of the cabinets. Sanding belts for the two-headed sander, the flatbed sander over there. Extra bags and extra flex dust hose for the dust collection system. Sandpaper, sandpaper, sandpaper. Sanding tools and presses. Resin casting molds. More extra dust collection hose. The Fest tool boxes for some of them. Some I keep down here, some I have up on the mezzanine. I put some outrigger legs on the back of the two-headed sander here. Behind it was really dead space where I could store some wood on it, and it stabled up the machine a lot better and kept the weight balanced for the load on the back of it. Underneath the Proxxon tools over here is mounted another 24-inch roll of wax paper for the resin table up here. The sample wall has grown a little bit since y'all saw it last, thanks to a bunch of you wonderful viewers. By Houston code, fire extinguishers are required every 75 feet or within 75 feet of reach, but I have I think a total of 6 in this shop area. The power outlet on this island workbench here, where I do the resin casting, again, it sits out in the middle, so I piped it up to the top and then put a pull down cord. I have it on its own circuit to come down and feed it, which supplies the power on both sides for the bench. Comes from the top, so there's nothing in the way. Alright guys, what I did on this drawer, this little unit is just sitting in here. I can lift it out. I have to take a few of the tools out to lift it out, but I really haven't had any reason to, but that's just the way I built it. And this one I wanted to put pencils and long items in here and so on that I could get to, but I couldn't really stand them straight up in a 5-inch deep drawer. So what I did here was I took and I cut some PVC on a 45-degree angle, as you can see, and put the pieces in there. And then I forget what I filled the bottom of it with. I think I used some expandable foam and stopped about, real slow expandable foam, stopped about a 1/2 inch from the top, and then poured resin around it. And that's what created this little holder. And like I was telling you about the blades of a drawer, I could get the longer ones in the first 3. The second ones were a little shorter, second to last, and then the last ones are very short. Same thing you do with that blade storage drawer. You couldn't get as much space on your last slider. On the back of these doors, there's those little wheels mounted there, and they just simply roll in these 3/8 inch aluminum tracks that are recessed into the wood. And that works wonderful. They can hold a lot of weight and slide very easily. And I use some plain old door bumps on the side to keep them from ramming into each other. And then of course all these little racks. Yes, that took a lot of drilling. Yep, a lot of drilling. This is my make sure drawer front, or sliding door front. These are different type of bolt heads and bolt screws, so I can explain to Berto what kind I want or need, or what one kind is called, one source or another. And then metric bolts, nut sizes, and standard nut and bolt sizes. And then of course hole gauges, size gauges, wire gauges, checking the dimension of wire, cutting off sandpaper, screw a bandsaw onto something sideways, slide the paper in there, tear it wherever you like. And some accessories for the drill press. When I built this little storage section up here, I didn't want to make it so that I could never run anything behind it or get power behind it if I needed to, or so on and so forth. So I know it's a dark hole in there, but there is a 3-inch dead space behind the whole thing. So any future changes, air I need, electrical, so on, it can be ran. These little storage bin are all built individually out of 1/2-inch plywood and then 1/2-inch solid oak. And I put a little piece of 1/4-inch with the grain running upward, or what do they call that, horizontal, so it was nice and strong, as the divider. And same thing, there's 2 inches of dead space back there that you can reach over the top and get to the dead space. And all these little trays go in those, sorry about that, like so. They came with plastic storage bins, but I built my own rack for them. I have 3 of these fans mounted in this area of the shop. They're not the yellow store-bought ones that I have over in the other 2 sections. These are actually just compressor fans out of old air conditioning units. And I mounted them on a downward angle and put them on a switch, and when I kick all 3 of them on, it kicks up a breeze in here. If you know what unistrut is, that's what that brace is built out of. It's used in the electrical, plumbing, and air conditioning trade to build supports with. And I use quite a bit of it. Like I said, commercial contractor. So, the Delta filters there's 3 of them in this portion of the shop. And again, they all come on with one switch. And what they do is clean the air. They pull it in through a filter and blow it back out. Keep all the dust clean in your shop. Keep all the dust clean. Keep the dust out of the shop. This is the handrail that goes around, that black rail, and it's mounted on this unistrut rack, which was built for the purpose of putting this handrail in, having something to mount the dust collection on, to mount the electrical that hangs down below it, and to mount the air. And like I say, this PVC, I started out with this originally 20 years ago, and this PVC holds up great. And you see that bend in the PVC right there? That's not store-bought. If you take a heat gun to a section of PVC, you don't have to have 90s. You can bend that stuff and mold it right around by heating it up. Works real nice. And on the bottom of all my air, I have drain out ports. Get that condensation out of the lines. I put this steel beam in across the open portion of the flat roof ceiling. It has steel poles that it sits on each end. Over there it's hidden behind the wall for the most part, and over here it's that big round pole that the handrail is mounted on. And then I put a winch on it, and that's that winch you see right there. Can't see it too good, huh? And it's controlled from the bottom to lift. And then these unistrut racks hold the extra ladders and scaffolding and stuff. And there's more ladder and scaffoldings than this, guys. It's in a warehouse storeroom that's just full of ladders and scaffoldings and stuff. But it's all for the business. Excuse me. Let me show you up on the mezzanine. Y'all have never seen that. This little stairwell right over here on the back side of the workbench, same thing. Built it out of aluminum. A flat walk area goes across. And then I can make use of all the up top space without having to get to a ladder to get to all this stuff. And all the garden tools and rakes and everything, again, are used for the business. We do some parking lot work and sweep up and clean up and mop up and so on and so forth. It's not all for my personal use. I'm not a tool hoarder. They all have a purpose. That unistrut also works great for building racks, keeping the compressor up off the air, up in the air. Man, if I could just learn to speak, huh? Supporting the dust collector that sits over here. This cabinet that's sitting around this Delta drill press is just sitting on the base of the drill press. You see these handles on the side here? I've got 2 of them on each side. I can very easily pull it out about 2 inches, and then it drops on its wheels and rolls right out of the way and can slide back in place, so that if I needed to use the drill press for a deeper drill hole. These little lights under the counter right here, what I did was I mounted a piece of round steel underneath the counter to stick them to, so that they could hang down. They're magnetic, so that way they sit there nice and good. Y'all might have noticed throughout the other videos, all my plugs appear to be what's mounted upside down, but that's not actually mounted upside down. That's the commercial way of doing it, so that if something were to fall and hit the plug and knock it partly out, like a metal tool or so on, it wouldn't hit on one of the hot tabs. It would hit on the ground. So that's why they're mounted like that. Sorry. And here by the drill press in these bins, what I have done is I have my drill bits starting with a 1/16 of an inch and going all the way up to 3/8 of an inch. And you'll notice there's 2 for each one. 9/32 and 9/32 dull, as the sharp and dull. So I know when they get dull, I throw them in the bottom. When I run out of the sharp ones, pull out the sharpener and sharpen them all at once. Keeps me from running back and forth to the sharpener all the time. All the tools that are in cases inside of this room are all the job site tools that the guys can take out to the job site. The glass cups, drill presses, little miter boxes, fans, chargers, hole saw jigs, portable table saw, portable planer, job site miter boxes, job site compressors, pressure washers, generators, levels, straight edges, fans, sanders, jigsaws, a couple of more miter boxes, hammer drills I think are where, oh yeah, they're over here, hammer drills, the hard hats, demo tools, and extra batteries for the Makitas and stuff. The guys, if they lose one or kill one, that way I've got one here ready for them and a spare charger. And again, to keep those chargers clean, I just put them in little Ziploc bags when I took them out of the case. One of the safes has lasers, the other one has office documents, and the one here on the end has my father and my grandfather's old guns that I collected. Really don't use them that much, but that's what's there. This bin over here, y'all have seen it on the other video, but these are just plastic storage bins that I got off of Amazon, and again, I'll put you a link in there for them if you'd like. You don't have to go shopping for them, they'll send them straight to you. And I use their plastic bins for these and just built them in. And the purpose of this is so the guys can get 1 or 2 screws if they need it without having to buy a whole box or bundle or so on. Coming out of the door to the office, y'all might have noticed that set of stairs that goes up to the right there. Let me show you what's up there. What this is storage, a storage area for brackets, door closers, inserts, door bumps, commercial locks, light bulbs, electrical fittings, electrical connections, electrical wires, electrical parts, electrical parts, electrical parts. We do a lot of wiring. Cones for the job site, drop cloths for the jobs, fire blanket, brackets, connectors, fasteners, nuts, bolts, screws, tape, paint, storage containers. Got about 6 foot of space here to the deck. The way I get around is I'm rolling around on a little half chair. And then I think over there I've got, what's underneath that tarp? I forget. Oh, some office chairs. And of course, like all of us, my files and so on. Then over here, some stuff for the property, extra garden hoses, gas cans, paint, fire extinguishers for the property, and so on. Right over here I've got an open section with the chains off it so we can lift things up and down off the mezzanine, which all this area you're seeing is built above the office area. And like I said, what I'm rolling around on is half of a chair. Sit down and roll around up here like that, and that's how I get up and down. Back over in this corner, this is where we keep all the lights that we use for the job sites, the electrical sub panels for this portion of the shop, and for the office and shop here I have a generator sitting up on the roof that runs all the backup lights and the office supplies and so on, and that's what that is. I don't think I ever showed you all these doors. And there's a rolling gate and a driveway out back with a dumpster. And that's about it. And there's the same on the other side. And see if I can back up here for you a bit. When you open that thing up and kick the fans on, it really gets a breeze going in here. Sorry, I don't know why they got so dark on me, huh? This stand has the little press that I use on the back side of it if I pull it out. And on the front side, I've got cutoff saw mounted into a little stand right here that you can get on the internet, made by Swag. It'll hold any of these type of cutoff saws, and it comes with a foot pedal that you can keep on the ground, but I found it more efficient to mount it up high here where I could just bump it with my knee when I'm standing there and run the saw. It works better when I'm standing up next to it and not holding a camera. And yes, door still opens. The Delta Sander here, I've showed you all this before, but I'm just so in love with this thing. Like I said, the table stays flat and level. It's the only one I've seen like that. And the head tilts, adjusting to any angle, where you can keep your wood surface flat, pressure down on it, much more stable than trying to hold it on an angle. And it comes with many inserts for the different sizes of the sanding heads. Comes with a variety of sizes of spindles. And I built a little mounting box here to hold my remote control for the jet dust collector and mount it to the side where it would stay in a safe, good place. On this little hanging bracket, I needed to hang one of my little detail sanders here. I went ahead with that spiral sander actually I just showed you and did what's called a sawtooth pattern, where you divide a pattern equally up like every 4 inches, then sand on an angle one direction and an angle on the other. And I also did the same pattern on the bottom of these legs. See if y'all can see it. Yeah. saw cut pattern is what it's called. Sawtooth pattern, excuse me. The winch that's mounted up on the beam here, I keep a little weight hanging on the bottom of it so the cable doesn't get tangled up when it's coming up and down. It works much better if you keep a weight on those things. And I have the control for it laying back here where I just pick it up and press the buttons to bring the winch up and down. And it has a cord on it. It'll roll out in the center of the shop there easily. Hey y'all, how you doing again? I hope that showed everything that you had asked me about on the shop. I did my best. I think I covered all the questions I was asked, and I hope I got everything answered for you. And I hope y'all are doing well with this coronavirus and staying safe and everything. I don't know about you, but I'm sure getting tired of it. When I went through the drive-thru the other day, I asked the guy at the counter there, hey, you know, when can I do sit-down dining again? And he closed the window and came back and handed me a folding table and chair and pointed to the parking lot. Oh, God. I know, I tell bad jokes, but forgive me. Couple of things. Several of y'all have asked me about my collectible autographs that I have hanging in the office area there that I've gotten over the years. So at the end of this video, after this, I'm going to go ahead and show them to you. If any of y'all that aren't interested, you can just click out here and say goodbye. But if you are interested in seeing them, stick around. I'm going to put them on after I'm done here. And I wanted to let you know I'm working on a few other things. A couple of resin and wood end tables made out of pink flame, and a peacock wall sculpture made out of colored laminated plywood, and also working on a few other turnings and trying to get a little better with my resin casting. So I've got those coming up and coming out here soon. So thank y'all again. Thank you so very much. To the subscribers, I thank you. I thank you. If you do subscribe, or if you have subscribed and you didn't leave a message, please, when you do, leave a message. Let me know. Say hi so I can tell you thank you. I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. Okay? All right. Let's go take a look at a few collectibles. And thank you, guys.